Hello and welcome, Bronze Brigade. We are here live with Carley Hill from Mission 22, and we're going to be talking a little bit about Mission 22 and the upcoming Heroes for Heroes fundraising event that's coming up on November 16th. Carley, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us, Christopher. Super excited to be here. And on behalf of Mission 22, we are all so immensely grateful for your continued support with this awesome fundraiser. And we're really excited to see how it goes this year.
Yeah, I can't wait. You know, it's been the last couple of years we've seen growth year after year for our little portion of the fundraiser, and just being able to see it keep growing is really awesome. So hopefully we keep that momentum going. So for those that may not know, you obviously work with Mission 22. Can you tell us a little bit about your role and why you started working with Mission 22?
Yeah, absolutely. So currently I am Mission 22's community outreach coordinator, which means basically I deal with partnerships. So anybody that wants to come in and fundraise, anyone from mom and pop candle makers that sell candles at farmers markets to corporations, corporate ERGs, and everything in between. We have a wide variety of supporters, and we are so grateful for all of them and all of the wonderful things that they do for us and how they amplify our voices and help us get veterans the treatment that they need, and then also the funding for the programs as well. Additionally, I also work with trademark release. So anyone wanting to use the logo, that sort of thing. Mission 22 has its own brand as well, but we obviously like to share the work that we do, and people support by different ways, by either incorporating the logo on flags or within their websites online and that sort of thing. So it's in a nutshell. Again, it is such a wide variety of wonderful supporters that I get to work with every day. And I feel like I'm just a small part of the Mission 22 team, our Recovery and Resiliency team, and then the founders, CEO, all of them. I mean, they really work day in and day out with the veterans in our programs, and are really, really making the world a brighter place for them. So I'm humbled to be a part of the team.
Well, that's awesome. And you've been a big help, by the way, behind the scenes for people that don't know. You've been kind of my contact with Mission 22 for the most part, and been very helpful. So I really appreciate all the help you've offered me over the last couple of years and going into this year.
Thank you so much.
So I think, the biggest point of having you on today is we really want people are obviously they're showing up and they're supporting this fundraiser. They're a little curious about, what exactly is Mission 22 and, what's kind of the main goals they have. So I have a few questions kind of designed to educate people and hopefully kind of get some information out about Mission 22. The first one is, how did Mission 22 start, and why is it called Mission 22? Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Very good question. So Mission 22 was founded in the year 2013. Last year, we celebrated our decade of service. And it was founded by a group of Green Berets that had gone into the service. They had been deployed a couple times. There's 3 of them over in Afghanistan and Iraq, and came back and just felt the struggle, right? They didn't talk about it really much. And then one of the founders lost someone very close to him that he was served with overseas. And it just threw him into this deep, dark hole of what is going on. We need to be doing better. That, like, he was feeling it, I had no idea, and now I'm feeling it. And, it's systemic, the post-traumatic stress that comes with service. And so through, the pain and suffering of losing somebody that he cared about deeply, Mission 22 was born. And it started slowly as he started just getting a group of veterans together. And this founder's name is Magnus Johnson. And he's a really, obviously, very hands-on, integral part of the team to this day. But so he started getting veterans together and doing art projects. So welding, metalwork, that sort of thing. And through that, they found, therapy. It's therapeutic to work with your hands, to be with that community of other veterans. And that kind of started evolving. And that led to the first large-scale art installation that Mission 22 produced, which is called Soaring. And that's in Nashville, Indiana. And it's 22 large steel cutout leaves that are then painted. And Nashville, Indiana is where the founder and his wife, who's also technically one of the founders, were from and living at the time. And so they put this statue in the middle of downtown to raise awareness and support for veterans that were struggling, and to signify 22, because at the time, 22 veterans a day were taking their lives. And that statistic was put out by the VA. That number could be actually, and most people do think it's actually quite higher than that, just because there's a lot that they don't account for, that the VA doesn't account for. So, but that was the number that they put out, and even that number alone is just terrifying, and the heartache and gut wrench that comes with that 22, almost 1 an hour veterans a day were taking their own lives is profoundly depressing and profoundly wrong. And so by producing this statue, they hope to just raise awareness and pay respects. But then it turned into more. It turned into people wanting to volunteer. And then it turned into the team putting Magnus and then the team putting together wellness programs, holistic healing programs. And things just kept evolving and growing. And now celebrating our 11th year in existence, we've helped thousands and thousands. I think we've had close to, it's counting, right? The numbers every month, the number is changing, but annually we impact about 2,500 people, veterans and spouses annually, whether through our programs or through, direct support through and the families too. So sorry, I kind of started digressing on a little bit more, but so we were founded, and the rest is history since then. But yeah, it was just the dire need for something else, some other resource to be there, because the need was so great, and there just weren't a lot of resources besides the VA at that time. And now there are quite a bit more veteran nonprofits in existence that are all doing great work as well. And we try to partner with them as much as we can by offering our resources, sharing contacts, sharing ideas, and that sort of thing. Just because collectively working together is, as we all know, it gets you so much further. So absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and no, that was a great answer. I know you kind of started to expand a little bit into kind of probably what our next question is going to be here. So, and that was kind of the historical perspective, like for the current kind of day-to-day, year-to-year operations. What are Mission 22's like main objectives right now when it comes to actual, like what kind of actual outreach and help is happening these days? And maybe you could give us some examples too of some of that happens. Yeah, absolutely. So our main focus is our programs. Our Recovery and Resiliency program we launched, which is a 6 and 12-month increments, depending on the need of the veteran. And so it's specifically designed and tailored to the individual, but also anyone that goes in through the program is in there with a cohort of 9 other individuals, other combat veterans that have served. And so they go, and the programs are all done remotely online, so they can check in. They check in with each other every day. They check in with their life coach 1 to 2 times a week. We send them a box that has everything they need, their vitamins, supplements, tinctures, all the required literature that they get to read, and then check in with the rest of the group and talk about it. We send them biometric tracking devices, so we can see, we're getting, hard data on their sleep, how their sleep patterns are improving, and how their adrenal fatigue and cortisol levels are changing throughout this process. So the programs are really intensive and, in nature, just as far as, how detailed they are. Mm-hmm. And they've been highly effective, so effective that we launched an amended version of it for spouses of veterans, because post-traumatic stress is not just, especially with a family living under a household, it's not just one person that's suffering from it. It's the whole family, and it touches every single member. And so last year, oh my gosh, 2 years ago, we were so fortunate enough to be able to launch our spousal support program as well. And so that mirrors what our Recovery and Resiliency program is. It's just geared towards spouses. So there's obviously some fundamental changes in it, but overall the comprehensive healing and wellness and holistic approach to, living a happy and fulfilled life is, it's the same foundation of it. And this year as well, we launched our Odyssey coaching program, which is a condensed version of the Recovery and Resiliency program. We, as I mentioned, the Recovery and Resiliency is very intensive and detailed, and it's expensive. So we wanted to be able to offer something, and something that we could share a little bit. Or we took what? Sorry, let me start over. But we wanted to be able to share something that wasn't going to be as intensive, cost as much, because we have so many veterans that need these programs and spouses that need these programs. And it's been a tough couple years to be a nonprofit. The last 2 years of just, I don't know, donations have been down. And so we are trying to get creative and do what we do, which is pivot, evolve, whatever we have to do to be able to provide the services to veterans. And these programs are always completely free to them. We would never charge a veteran or a spouse. So the Odyssey coaching program is just the coaching component. So obviously we do promote them to go, or encourage them to, go out. The same thing as the Recovery and Resiliency: go outside, take a walk, connect with people in your community, go join a gym. And the Recovery and Resiliency program, we pay for a gym membership as well. And we encourage them to use like group memberships. And a lot of veterans in the programs find so much therapy and therapeutic healing from like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and CrossFit and those community-based workouts. And so they, minus all of the fluff, if you will, from the Recovery and Resiliency program, and it's just the veteran or the spouse and they're one-on-one with their life coach. And they do have some required readings that they ask them to read and that sort of thing. But that was one of the most highly effective tools of the whole program, was that connection, that communication, having that responsibility to check in with your coach, and having that person there, whether or not the coach is a veteran or a civilian. We found it kind of across the board that accountability factor to that other person that's cheering our veteran on, our spouse of the veteran on, has been phenomenally successful. So we launched that earlier this year, which has been amazing as well, to be able to offer, an additional resource without so much of I don't want to say commitment, but just so much of the input, and not everybody needs as intensive as a 12-month recovery and resiliency program is. So yeah, we're doing everything that we can to just keep growing and expanding, and just most importantly, getting the resources that veterans and spouses need, right into their laps.
Right on. And I really appreciate all the information, because I think that's exactly, what people are most curious about. You mentioned this, and this is something that I think rings true to all of us, is the last couple of years have been hard financially for everybody. And obviously that's going to have an extra impact on nonprofits and charities. When it comes to the finances, now, I know this is kind of like one of those topics where don't worry, I'm not going to name other organizations, but you do hear about charity organizations that maybe their funds aren't managed as well as some others. Let's put it that way. Mission 22 has, from what I can tell, a really good track record of having a majority of the funds that are donated go to actual programs instead of just raising awareness, which is also very important, of course. But sometimes, people want to know, hey, if I'm donating, where's this money actually going? Very, transparent finances, all that sort of stuff, which I know a lot of people appreciate in the veteran community too. They really like seeing that. Can you talk a little bit about when somebody donates, $10, $100, whatever, can you talk a little bit about where that money actually goes, and maybe approximately what portion of it actually goes to programs versus towards organizational costs?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for the compliment. We pride ourselves on our transparency, and we work really, really hard to beat our numbers every year. And by numbers, I mean how much of our donation goes directly to fund our programs. Last year, we were right at 89.7%.
Wow.
And that only is directly to fund programs and social impact. But all that doesn't even include admin costs. So we are a really small team. We wear a lot of hats. We work really hard. And we are a gold or a platinum rated charity on GuideStar, which means, the GuideStar has done their homework. They vouch for us. They've confirmed our financials that the vast majority of them do go directly to impacting the lives of veterans. And even the rest of it. I mean, the programs, the organization couldn't run without any of the components. Every single penny counts to us. It really does. And especially like I mentioned earlier, in these strange times, we still, that's still very important to us, that everyone knows that we work really hard to make sure that your donations go to what they're said to. We get approached often for people to ask, oh, can you sponsor this? Can you sponsor that? And we have a hard line no answer, because that we have to be good stewards of our donors' dollars. And if those dollars are meant to help veterans and save veteran lives, that's what they're going to. And that's something that, like I said, that we will always do. We will always offer our programs for free. And we hope to keep expanding and offering more programs and be able to serve more veterans. So we don't see this will not be changing anytime in the near future. But yeah, every donation is hugely impactful, and the stories that come out. And I do want to share, Christopher, with you a recent testimonial video that I can send you the link to, that you can share with your community. But it just really hits home to the effectiveness of these programs, and I love sharing it with people, that donors and supporters alike, because it really illuminates to the effectiveness of our programs. So
yeah, absolutely. I'd love to check it out and share it out. Speaking of sharing out, we do have a few people in the chat. If anybody has any questions for Carley or anything that are curious about with Mission 22 or upcoming Heroes for Heroes stuff, feel free to throw that in the chat. I might not immediately stop and ask your question, but I'll ask it at the end here. We'll make sure we're getting those questions answered. So, one of the things that I definitely have noticed, and it's one of the reasons that I gravitated towards Mission 22 as a cause that I wanted to help out with, is that so many veterans in the comic book community, whether they're comic book creators themselves and they work on the actual comic books, or they're just collectors. For one thing, there's a lot of veterans. It's actually a surprisingly large number, to me at least, that's in this community. But a lot of them really have a high opinion of Mission 22 in particular. It's one of the groups that before I was ever involved in doing any kind of fundraiser stuff for Mission 22, I would see people posting about Mission 22 and see awareness being raised about it, and doing things like small fundraisers to raise money for Mission 22. So that's one of the reasons that I went towards it. What do you think is the key for a group like yours to have that kind of reputation with that veteran community? How is that something that's so easily achieved for you guys? Like, how have you been able to do that?
I think transparency is probably a big part of it, and not just financials. I think it was, and so I've been with the organization 6 years now, and I mentioned it was 11 years. We've been up and running for 11 years, but also not being afraid to talk about the stigma of suicide. Early on, I think that was a really tough thing for people to digest. Our tagline, one of our taglines, is "United in the War Against Veteran Suicide," and people don't like to talk about uncomfortable things.
Yeah.
It's like, even if they're suffering or struggling, unless somebody else says it, it's like they're not going to be the first one. So I think, that is a big part of it. And I hope that I'm right about this. I know that I've heard from others that this, having that safe place to, hey, you're right. We need to talk about this. We need to break the stigma. This is unacceptable. I think that is probably a draw, just not being afraid to touch on things that are wrong and that need to be changed and that need to be remedied and that need resources and support. And I think that, there is a draw to that with people that are suffering and people that aren't, just because, it's sometimes it's what is that? It's not always the popular thing to say something that it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But I think that, as time has gone on, and the stigma, I think is definitely starting to break down, because the movement has gotten so big, not just from Mission 22, but like I mentioned, there's so many other good veteran nonprofits out there doing great work. I don't know. And I think that the leadership is just incredible. Again, I think that they have always been very steadfast in their values and their beliefs, and they have hired people that are the same. And I think and they've created this culture that, you know, the veterans come first. That's what we're here for, veterans and families. And, you know, we get people reach out all the time, you know, wanting us to get involved in other causes, or, and even some that are similar, but it's just like, we stick to what we do good, and we are doing it really, really good. And, you know, we sometimes we have to put up these boundaries where it's like, I'm sorry, we can't do, you know, the toy drive this year for XYZ or whatever, because we really need to focus on generating funds for our programs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think just sticking to who this organization is, as, you know, fundamentally, I think people just like that authenticity, that transparency, and yeah.
Absolutely. No, and it's just so apparent. And I just wanted to make sure, you know, I'm somebody who talks to a lot of people in this kind of smaller community that the comic book community is. And it's just so many people have messaged me privately or in small groups that I'm in, like group chats. And, you know, because I've been posting about this for a few years now and just saying like, oh, I'm really happy you're supporting that cause. You know, they do great work, or, you know, it's just a crazy how many people are aware of what Mission 22 does and have a positive opinion of it. Something that's pretty rare these days to have kind of a universal positivity rating, I guess you could call it. So I just wanted to share that with you and let you know that this community really appreciates what Mission 22 does. In fact, I wanted to highlight Christina's comment here. Thank you for what Mission 22 does. She said her dad is a veteran and many family members. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we love to hear the feedback all the time. And yeah, I think just, you know, like I said, just sticking true to who we are is something that we will always do. And I hope that and always being a safe place for any veteran. As an organization, we make it very clear that we are apolitical. We don't ever want any veteran to never feel like they can't come to us. Again, that is our first priority. We don't care where you're from, anything, you know, any beliefs, whatever. We just want to help. You served our country. Your family served our country. We're here for you, and we want to do what's best for you. And yeah, so that's our whole modus operandi.
Well, I think that's perfect. You know, having a really simple, clear vision makes it easy for others to rally around it too, which is very important. And speaking of rallying around this, I know this is a kind of a technical detail, but a lot of people do have questions about this. When it comes to, you know, hey, we just know it's a reality that a lot of donations often have like tax implications and that kind of stuff down the road. So people do kind of wonder if they donate, whether they donate via the Mission 22 website, which I've pasted the link into the chat a couple times, or if they donate to the Heroes4Heroes campaign, which for those that, you know, wonder about this, the Heroes4Heroes is an official, I guess we'd call it fundraising campaign for Mission 22. So we have, when I post the link to our page, it's actually piggybacking off the Mission 22 website. All that money goes directly to Mission 22. It doesn't pass through any third party or anything like that. So when people donate, do they have the ability to have tax implications for that down the road? Not just with funds, but also if people want to donate items and they send them into me, so we auction them off and then those funds go towards Mission 22, can they get tax receipts for that kind of information? I already know the answer to this, but I figure it's probably good to ask for everybody watching.
Yes, absolutely. Your donation, whether it's an in-kind donation, a donation of a good or a service, or an amazing piece of art, or a financial donation, that all can be, it all qualifies for a tax deductible donation receipt that you can turn in. So yeah, 100%. That is absolutely something that we offer and provide. Anybody that's donating, you know, an in-kind donation, just, I need the names. Yeah. And Christopher, I think that you can help, but yeah, they can either reach out to me directly to me, and there's a little bit of information very small amount of information that I need. And then we can get you the donation receipt. We can send that via email or via mail as well.
Yeah. And I'll just add to that, I know a few people have, and I'm collecting that information. They've done this already, but anybody who is planning on sending in items still, first of all, you're getting down to the wire. So I really recommend getting that in the mail here really soon to make sure it makes it here in time for November 16th. But if you want to include, hey, I need a tax receipt for this, here's my essentially your name, your address, your basic contact information. And then I can reach out if I need anything else, and we'll get that all taken care of. Just be a little patient, because, there's a lot of logistical steps going on here, but we'll definitely get that information to you in a timely manner. So definitely make sure you're out there doing that. We want to make sure that anybody who donates, hey, may as well take advantage of those tax breaks that can be part of that as well. So the last formal question I have for you, and this is because I know when it comes to money can be tough for people. There's lots of different ways that people can help out with different causes. Like when I do the Heroes4Heroes stuff, I often say, I understand that people may not be able to donate physical money, but hey, maybe you can donate items, and then we can generate money with those items. And you can share out that we're even doing this in the first place. That's a free way to help. Are there any other ways besides obviously donations, which are of course appreciated, that anybody can help out with Mission 22? Any ways in which people can get involved that you recommend, or places that we can point them to get more information about that?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned earlier, we are a really small core team for being a national organization. We have an ambassador program that spans the country, and then we have groups in every state. We have a few groups abroad in Japan and Germany as well. And our ambassadors are the heartbeat of what we do. I mean, we have over 4,000 individuals in the program. They go out into their communities. They help us raise awareness. They help us connect with businesses or leaders in their communities. They help us raise funding. They'll go and accept checks on our behalf. Other organizations or businesses might host a fundraiser and wanted a photo op, and I've had an ambassador drive hours just to go take the picture, and because it was important to the supporters, and it was important to the ambassadors to be there, and then form this beautiful relationship where they're invited back year after year, and the more money is raised, the more awareness is raised, that sort of thing. So that's the ambassador program is, we have an application process just because we want to make sure that anybody that joins can effectively articulate what it is Mission 22 does. We make it, very known that we are not a crisis line. We don't want our ambassadors going and giving help to anyone in crisis. They are there to strictly, share about the programs, share about their life experiences, that sort of thing. And so there's the application process, and then a training, about an hour and a half training that just helps with, it's a wealth of information and about Mission 22, and then also just about, the current state of affairs for veterans in this country, and things that we could be doing better, and things that, how things are progressing, and that sort of thing. So it's somewhat intensive to get in and learn about it. I mean, I don't want to say intensive, but and our ambassadors, like I said, they'll go to events, they'll connect with others in their community, they'll host fundraisers, that sort of thing. But really anybody can get involved by just sharing about the work that we do, requesting Mission 22 info cards, keeping them in their place of work, passing them out. And we even encourage people, if they want to get involved, just brightening a Veterans Day, reaching out to local American Legion or Post, and just checking in and say, hey, do you need anything? Do you need any boots on the ground volunteering for any events like that? Visiting VA hospitals, that sort of thing. I mean, there's so many different ways to get involved with and on a larger scale, if the ambassador program might not be right for an individual, but yeah, that sort of thing is always welcome and appreciated. And then we host challenges, usually every other month. And many of you probably know about the 22 push-up a day push-up challenge. We've been doing that one for years, and it was so amazing and successful that we started hosting challenges every other month. And we've gotten pretty creative with them. We've done a meditation challenge, walk 22 miles a month, different challenges, bike challenges. We have a lot in the motorcycle community that they'll do rides for us, memorial rides, that sort of thing. So we're always trying to do, and some months we offer two, just to have a little bit of a variety. Not everybody wants or can walk 22 miles a day. So they might choose, the alternative. But yeah, the challenges are amazing, and those can be signed up. You can find those on our website and then sign up on Facebook, and then it's very easy, user friendly. You just log your hours or miles or whatever the challenge is. And yeah, that's a really fun way to get involved, just because it's less commitment than the ambassador program would be. And it's fun. It's not only challenging, to raise the money, but most of them are like physically challenging as well. So, hey, you're definitely getting, getting something out of it in more ways than one.
Yeah.
And also the way that we can share, via Facebook, via social media. The reach is so great with social media that, so-and-so says they're going to do, join the push-up challenge, and then their cousin sees it, and then their cousin's friends see it. And then, just the ripple effect is really incredible. So those challenges has brought so much light to Mission 22 as an organization, and given us the resources and tools to, really expand our programs. So yeah, it's a great way to get involved as well.
That's fantastic. So I would be remiss if I didn't. That's how us regular people can get involved and help out, and anybody who's watching. I would be remiss if I didn't ask if you're a veteran watching, if you're somebody who does need some help and needs some of the services that you've been talking about, some of the things that Mission 22 offers. What can those veterans do to reach out and kind of get connected? What's the process look like for them?
So they would go on our website, send a message, and that message is fielded by a recovery and resiliency team. They'll receive it. They'll reach out right away. And depending on and as I mentioned earlier, we work with a lot of different organizations, as we are not a crisis line. There might be somebody that reaches out in crisis, but we have partners all across the country that we put them with right away and say, hey, this person needs you, this person needs a service, or this resource. So we act as, of course, anybody that needs our services come in, they're connected with our recovery and resiliency team. And there's a process that goes through that, their own interview process, that will go through that. And, they'll be placed, with their life coach, or they'll be placed with another organization, depending on what the need is. Like I mentioned, we're not a crisis line. We don't have like a detox program either, but we have wonderful partners that do have these things. And yeah, so they reach out, and if they apply for the recovery and resiliency team, they meet with the founder or the director of the program. We ask them to submit their DD-214, and a few other requirements. Just because we want them to also take accountability for the program. As I mentioned earlier, they are, they're pretty costly, but that's what comes with them being so highly effective. But we want to really make sure that veterans and spouses are ready to take on the commitment to do the hard work. And so yeah, there is a vetting process, but the program is opened to any veterans that apply. And so, and I might need to get more information on that, just because I don't work on the day-to-day directly with veterans applying for the programs, and I know everything is situational. So we have a lot of referrals as well, and especially with the launch of the spousal support program. We have a veteran in the program, and then their spouse is in the program, finds out about the program, and so their process might be a little bit different, since they're in the program at the same time as their spouse. But yeah, everything. And I know my colleagues do such an incredible job, just giving the due diligence to every single individual that reaches out, and making sure that they have the resources they need, as individuals, but also as a part of the cohort. So, but yeah, any veteran can apply, any spouse of a veteran can apply, and that's all done through our website. And from there, then you're connected with the group. So.
Excellent. I know we have quite a few people that were jumping in here at the near-ish the end of the interview here. If you do have any questions, get those in real fast, because we might have a chance to ask one or two. But as we're kind of done with the questions I had prepared for Carley here, I just wanted to say, for anybody watching, the reason that we're on here today is you've probably seen on my programming that we have Heroes for Heroes, which is just the name I give our particular comic book fundraiser, where we raise money for Mission 22, coming up on November 16th. If you want ways that you can help with that, first of all, I posted the link in the chat earlier. It's in the description below. You can directly go donate right now to the Heroes for Heroes fundraiser. That money, again, goes directly to Mission 22. Just 100% of the funds you donate will be directly donated to them so they can support some of the wonderful programs that we were just hearing about and some of the ways that they can offer help to veterans. So that's one way you can help. If you're watching this way down the road and you still want to help, first of all, that page might still be open because we keep it open pretty much year round. You can still go donate there. You could also go to Mission 22's website. If you're a veteran or if you're somebody who just wants to help veterans and their spouses, go ahead and go check out their site with all that information. There's a lot of great information on there if you want to learn more about the company, if you want to check financials, if you want to learn how you can get involved and be part of that ambassador program or any of those types of things, definitely go check out the website. So this is a question. Oh, this is a very specific question. Will company donations that we drum up be able to be reflected on the Heroes for Heroes total? So that, yeah, it's a good question. Just before we get an answer on that, if you're out there and you're watching, if you're trying to raise money for Mission 22 through Heroes for Heroes or just through Mission 22, that's one thing that I would recommend is reach out to your employer, because a lot of employers will do donation matching or they might be interested in donating. Also, local businesses that might be interested in supporting the cause might also be willing to do that. That's another way you can kind of go out and can kind of raise money for Mission 22 as well. But yeah, is it possible if we find out like, hey, a business has donated X number of dollars, can we have that added to the Heroes for Heroes total if that was part of our outreach?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Absolutely. I just need the name and then I can go in, have our office manager cross-reference it, and then I can add it to the page.
Awesome. Yeah, so basically that's kind of what we have coming up for the Heroes for Heroes campaign on November 16th. Make sure you come back for the charity auction on this channel. It's going to start at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're also this weekend, probably on Saturday, going to have a community art challenge where a lot of community comic book artists are going to come on and start drawing sketches like for characters that people want. And then you guys can bid on those as they're being drawn. And then at the end of the sketch period, you'll go ahead and make the donation to Mission 22 and we'll send you out your artwork. So definitely come and be a part of that. We really want people to get involved with that. If you have any way that you want to reach out and try to help for Heroes so we can raise some money for Mission 22, just contact me. It's thebronzeagenerd@gmail.com, or you can contact me on IG. If you have any questions for Carley after the show is ended and you're not able to ask them, you can leave a comment down below and I'll email that into her. I don't know if you want to give out your email for people that might want to reach out. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Cool. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's Carley@mission22.com. So don't forget the E. A lot of people forget the E in there, but CARLEY@mission22.com. So pretty straightforward. And it's probably it is on the website as well. So
Perfect. Yeah. So if you have any questions about that, make sure you reach out. I just wanted to thank you for coming on, Carley. It was really awesome to get a chance to learn more about what Mission 22 is all about. I know when I tell, I'll go around to like comic conventions and I'll talk to creators, and some of these people are veterans and some of them are just, big supporters of our veterans. And I'll tell them about the program. First of all, it's great that a lot of them have heard of it already, but the ones that aren't really sure, okay, I understand what you're doing, but I don't know exactly what that means. It's great to have some places like this video to kind of point them to kind of get some more information for them too about what Mission 22 is. So I really appreciate you coming on and giving us some more information about that. I think it's been very helpful for a lot of our people that support this program. So thank you.
Oh, thank you guys. Again, we are immensely grateful for this partnership, Christopher, and you've done a fantastic job. Totally blown me away with it. And the art, oh my goodness, I can't wait to see it. Last year, it was awesome to see. So excited. And this is such a beautiful thing that you're doing, that all of you are doing. You're undoubtedly impacting the life of a veteran, a spouse of a veteran, families of veterans, children of veterans, just through supporting these programs. The trickle-down effect is huge. The ripple effect is huge. We're making the world a brighter place for them all, and we're doing it together, and we couldn't do it without you. So we are eternally grateful.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's the least I can do to give back. And then, conversely, thank you and Mission 22 for all the work you're doing for all these veterans. I mean, you're putting in the hard work for them too. So we really appreciate that. And of course, we appreciate our veterans that we're doing this all for in the first place too. So thank you so much to those that are out there. Reach out if you need some help, even on the minor level or on, with big stuff. Reach out and we'll get you connected with who we can to help you out with that. So thanks for coming on today, Carley. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I really appreciate all the information. Thank you so much.
Yes, I do too. Thank you again, Christopher. And we're excited.
Oh, this is a good question. Do you have a favorite comic book character that we might be able to draw on our community art stream on Saturday?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, Spider-Man, I think, is
perfect.
My son's current favorite. So he just
there we go. Love it. That's perfect. Awesome. You just Christina says you just sent this live to a veterans channel that I know definitely will spread the love. That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that, everybody.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll catch you on the next one, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, thank you too.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.